Your Denver Broncos are sitting pretty as the undisputed kings of the AFC, holding the number 1 seed and every advantage that comes with it, yet somehow, the betting markets have lost their collective minds and decided we are the underdogs against a battered, broken, and exhausted Buffalo Bills team. In this video, we are going to expose exactly why that line is absolute insanity and break down the massive mismatches that are about to send the Broncos straight to the AFC Championship game. This isn't just a playoff game, it's a reckoning, and I'm going to show you exactly why Buffalo has zero chance of walking out of Mile High with a win. If you believe that this time next week we are going to be celebrating a massive victory and preparing for a game that puts us just one step away from the Super Bowl, do me a huge favor and smash that like button and subscribe to the channel right now to help us take over the algorithm. Let's get straight into the meat of this situation because it is frankly ridiculous that we are even having this conversation. We are the number 1 team in the entire conference. We have the most Pro Bowl selections in the league. We have the most All-Pro selections, literally double the amount of the next closest team. Our coaching staff is so elite that the rest of the NFL is desperately trying to poach our guys for head coaching gigs. And yet, despite all of that dominance, the oddsmakers look at this matchup and say, yeah, give us the Bills. Are you kidding me? This is criminal. It is the ultimate sign of disrespect to a team that has proven itself week in and week out. Now, I want to back this up with history because you know we don't just talk feelings here, we talk facts. In the entire history of the NFL, a number 1 seed coming off a bye has only been an underdog in their first playoff game 2 times. 2 times ever. And guess what happened both times? The underdog, the team that should have been the favorite, won straight up. It happened in 2017 when the Philadelphia Eagles were disrespected against the Falcons. The Eagles won. It happened in 2011 when the 49ers were underdogs to the Saints. The 49ers won. History tells us that you do not luck your way into the number 1 seed. You earn it. And when the world doubts a team that has earned that rest and that home field advantage, the world usually ends up looking stupid. Beyond the disrespect, we need to talk about the physical reality of what the Buffalo Bills are dealing with right now. The NFL schedule makers did them absolutely no favors, and honestly, we should be laughing all the way to the bank about it. Tony Dungy put out a massive rant recently about how unfair the scheduling is for teams like the Bills and the 49ers, and he's right, but that's not our problem, that's our advantage. The Bills just played a brutal, physical war on Sunday against Jacksonville. They are turning around on a short week with only 6 days of rest. But it's not just the time, it's the travel. Think about this logistics nightmare for a second. They had to fly 4.5 hours from Jacksonville all the way back up to Buffalo. They get home, maybe sleep in their own beds for a night or 2, and then they have to get right back on a plane for another 4-hour flight out to Denver. They are spending half their prep week in the air. Meanwhile, our boys have been resting, recovering, and game planning in the comfort of their own facility for 2 weeks. And then, they land in Denver. If you have lived in Denver for even a week, you know the altitude is real. It's not a myth. It's not something opposing fans make up to feel better. It is science. I remember when my father-in-law came to visit from sea level. We literally had to take breaks just walking to the park because he was winded. Now imagine trying to play an NFL playoff game in those conditions when you aren't acclimated. The science says it takes between 9 and 18 days to fully adjust to the thin air. Buffalo is going to be here for maybe 24 hours before kickoff. Athletes across every sport have talked about this nightmare. Teddy Bruschi has said it affects every fiber of your being, your muscles don't get the oxygen they need, you feel like you're suffocating, and you panic. NBA legends like Kevin Garnett and LeBron James have talked about how much harder it is to win a series in Denver because you just get tired faster. You're huffing and puffing on the sideline, gasping for air that isn't there. This is why the Avalanche dominate at home. This is why the Nuggets dominate even when they're missing stars. And this is why the Broncos have one of the best home field advantages in sports. The Bills are sandwiched between 8 hours of flights, coming in on a short week, and they are about to step into 5,280 feet of pure exhaustion. They are going to feel every single foot of that elevation. Now, let's look at the rosters, because this is where the game is really going to be decided. Tracy Wolfson, who, by the way, is usually very pro-Bills, even she admitted that the biggest story here is how banged up Buffalo is getting. They were already hurting going into the Jacksonville game, and they barely scraped by with a one-score win. It took a game-of-a-lifetime performance from Josh Allen just to beat the Jaguars. And let's be honest, Jacksonville is not a hostile environment. They had to install swimming pools in their stadium just to get fans to show up. Josh Allen is not ready for the noise he's about to hear at Mile High. The difference between a swimming pool crowd in Florida and a playoff crowd in Denver is night and day. But let's look at the specific injuries because the body count is stacking up for Buffalo. First, you have Gabe Davis. They were hoping to get him back to stretch the field, but he officially blew out his ACL. He is done. That is a massive weapon gone. Then there is the big one on defense, Jordan Poyer. He went out with a hamstring issue against Jacksonville, and he has already been ruled out for this game. I cannot stress enough how huge this is. Poyer has been a nightmare for us in the past. He's a veteran, an all-pro, a guy who knows how to play zone coverage perfectly. He's the brain of that secondary. You can replace him with a guy who might be faster or more athletic, but you cannot replace that experience. You can't replace the brain that knows exactly where to be before the ball is snapped. Without him, their zone coverage is going to have holes, and Bo Nix is going to find them. And we aren't done. We are hearing rumors about more defensive linemen popping up on the injury report, adding to a unit that already lost Von Miller and other key pieces last year. They are thin up front. But the most controversial injury news revolves around their tight end, Dalton Kincaid. This is the mismatch everyone is scared of, right? They're two tight end sets. Well, Kincaid was seen leaving the stadium in a walking boot. Now, the Bills are trying to spin this. They are saying it was just precautionary to prevent swelling on the plane. Maybe that's true. But do you really think a guy wearing a precautionary boot after a physical playoff game is going to be 100%? He's now dealing with 9 hours of flying in altitude on a bad ankle. Do you honestly believe that a hobbled Josh Allen and a limping tight end room can keep up with this Broncos defense for 4 quarters at altitude? It just doesn't add up. Let's pivot to the guys wearing the headsets. This is perhaps the biggest mismatch of them all. On one sideline, you have Sean McDermott. The noise surrounding him is deafening. If he doesn't win this game, people are saying he's gone. He is coaching for his job. He's looking over his shoulder at rumors of Bill Belichick or whoever else might take his spot. That is pressure. That is fear. On our sideline, you have Sean Payton. A man who has completely transformed this franchise. He has taken a team with the biggest dead cap hit in NFL history and turned us into the number 1 seed. We have 6 All-Pros. We have 5 Pro Bowlers. He has maximized every ounce of talent on this roster. While McDermott is panicking, Payton is scheming. This is a chess master against a guy who is just trying not to lose his job. So how do we actually win this game on the field? It's simple. We run the rock. This has been the frustration all year for us fans, right? We know Sean Payton writes "run the ball" at the top of his play sheet, but sometimes he gets pass happy. Well, if he watched the tape from the Jacksonville game, he knows exactly what to do. The Jaguars lost because they abandoned the run. Travis Etienne was averaging nearly 7 yards a carry. He had 10 carries for 67 yards. That is an insane average. And they stopped giving him the ball. If they had just kept pounding the rock, they win that game. The weakness of this Buffalo defense is the outside run. Their linebackers are slow to the edge, and their ends are aggressive upfield. This is tailor-made for our backfield. We know R.J. Harvey, our rookie sensation, lives for this. He has the vision and the burst. And then you throw in Jaleel McLaughlin with his pure speed. He is going to carve them up on the perimeter. I firmly believe Sean Payton is going to spam the outside run in this game. He is going to force Buffalo to chase us sideline to sideline in the thin air until their lungs give out. By the 4th quarter, their defense is going to be gasping for breath, and RJ Harvey is going to be ripping off 20-yard chunks to seal the game. Now, I know some of you are thinking about the last time we played Buffalo. People look at the box score and think we got blown out. But if you actually watched that game, you know it was closer than it looked. Bo Nix made some incredible throws in that game. He hit that deep shot to Troy Franklin for a touchdown that showed exactly what this offense can do. The problem wasn't the quarterback, it was the drops. Bo had 23% of his passes dropped in that game. That is a statistical anomaly. That is not going to happen again. Our receivers have tightened up. They are focused. I do not envision a world where we drop a quarter of our passes in a playoff game at home. Bo Nix is going to be sharp, and this time, his playmakers are going to help him out. I also want to highlight a specific player who I think is the X factor in this game, our rookie corner, Jody Barron. Everyone is worried about the Bills' tight ends, but Luka Evans from the Denver Post pointed out something crucial. We are likely going to see a lot of Jody Barron on the field specifically to neutralize that threat. We've seen his snap counts creeping up week after week. It reminds me exactly of how the coaching staff slowly unleashed Troy Franklin a couple of years ago. They have been saving Barron for this moment. He played 41% of the snaps 2 weeks ago. He is fresh, he is fast, and he has the coverage skills to shut down a banged-up Dalton Kincaid. This is the chess piece that Sean Payton has been waiting to use, and I think Barron is going to have a massive impact on third downs. All of this leads me to my big question for you guys today, and I want to see a war in the comments section. What is your exact score prediction for this game? Do you think the Broncos blow them out, or is this going to be a nail-biter down to the wire? Let me know your score below. Listen, the narrative out there is wrong. The media wants to sell you on Josh Allen the Superman, ignoring the fact that he's physically falling apart. They want to ignore the altitude. They want to ignore the travel. They want to ignore the fact that the Denver Broncos are the number 1 seed for a reason. We have the rest. We have the health. We have the better coach. And we have a defense that is about to feast on a backup safety and a hobbled quarterback. Also, one final point to keep in mind, penalties. We have been a highly penalized team this year, which has been our Achilles heel. But if you watched the playoffs this weekend, you saw that the refs are swallowing their whistles. They are letting the boys play. That favors the more physical team. That favors the team with the home crowd noise. That favors us. The Denver Broncos are going to exploit every single mismatch I just listed. We are going to run the ball down their throats. We are going to knock Josh Allen out of the playoffs. And this time next week, we are going to be hosting the AFC Championship game. Get you some of that, Broncos country. We have a ton to believe in. The ball don't lie.